Good afternoon, everyone. This is the September 16th meeting of the Murrieta City Council is now called to order. Roll call, Madam City Clerk.
Councilmember DeForest. Councilmember Stone.
Present.
Councilmember Holliday.
Here.
Councilmember Lavelle.
I'm here.
I apologize, Mayor Pro Tem Lavelle, and Mayor Warren.
Here.
Let the record reflect that all members are present with the exception of Councilmember DeForest.
Thank you very much. Madam City Clerk, would you please go over the closed session agenda and any public comments?
Seeing no public comments, the City Council will conduct closed session with the City Manager, Assistant City Manager, Administrative Services Director, and City Attorney pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.95B to consider the following workers' compensation claims. Gomez, claim number 17-0000001, 16-0500138, and 17-132774. This council will also conduct a closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D2 because there is significant exposure to litigation in two cases. City Council will also conduct closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.8 to enable the City Council to consider negotiations and to give direction to its negotiators regarding certain real property located at APN 906-670-004 with David Gonzalez and Jensen Kira. The city's real property negotiators, the city manager, economic development director, and city attorney will seek direction from this council regarding price and terms for this property. City council will conduct closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D4. Because the city is considering whether to initiate litigation in one case. And lastly, City Council will conduct a closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 54957A to consult with the Chief of Police and City Attorney on matters posing a threat to the city. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Madam City Clerk. With that, we are going to go into recess, into closed session, and we'll reconvene at 6 p.m. for our regular meeting. Welcome to the September 16th regular meeting of the Murrieta City Council. I now call to order. Madam City Attorney, would you please provide a report of closed session, please?
Happy to do so, Mayor. The City Council met in closed session on 5 items. The first was to confer with legal counsel regarding a workers' compensation matter. The council was updated, no reportable action. The second item was to confer with legal counsel regarding anticipated litigation in 2 cases. On both of these items, the council was updated, no reportable action. The third item was to confer with the real property negotiators regarding certain property located at APN 906-670-004. On this item, Councilmember Stone left the room due to a conflict of interest in owning property near the subject property. The council was updated, no reportable action. The fourth item was regarding anticipated litigation and whether to initiate litigation in one case. On this item, Councilmember Lavelle left the room for a business call. The council was updated and gave direction, no reportable action. The last item was a threat to public services or facilities. On this item, Council Member Lavelle was also still gone for his call. The council was updated, no reportable action. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam City Attorney. At this time, I'd like you to please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance led by our City Attorney, and please remain standing for the invocation led by Shane Academian, 678 Middle School Director, Calvary Murrieta Church.
Let's bow our heads together. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you on behalf of all who are gathered here today. Thank you for your many and abundant blessings. Thank you for the life that you've given us, the desire to fulfill our callings, and for provision and for friendship. Thank you for the opportunity to be involved in useful work and for the honor of bearing such responsibilities. Thank you for the freedom you've given us. We also thank you for your great love from your boundless and gracious nature. And in your word, it says that citizens ought to obey the governing authorities since you have established those very authorities to promote peace, order, and justice. Therefore, I pray for our mayor, for the various levels of city officials, and in particular, this assembled council. I'm asking that you would graciously grant them wisdom and discernment to govern well, awareness to the needs of the people, confidence in what is good, and unity to work in harmony, peace in their lives, and joy in each task. I pray for the agenda set before them today. Please give them assurance and peace to do what would please you and do what would benefit those who live and work in and around our city of Murrieta. It is in Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
I was going to say, please be seated, but you already are. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to Madam City Clerk.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. If you don't mind, I'd like to do roll call.
Please.
Councilmember DeForest.
Here.
Councilmember Stone.
Here.
Councilmember Holliday.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Lavelle.
Here.
Mayor Warren.
Here.
Let the record reflect that all members are present. Right now, we'll move on to the proclamation for Constitution Week. This is something that the City Council graciously does every year. The following volunteers with Constitution Week Friends 2025 will come forward, please, for acceptance of the proclamation. And we also have the pleasure of being in attendance, the Daughters of the American Revolution. If you can all come up to the front as well. The City Council will read a proclamation, present it to you, and then we can take pictures. That's okay by you, Madam Mayor.
That would be great.
Okay.
Please come on down.
Please come forward.
And then after I read the proclamation, we'll all come down and take a big group picture. The proclamation reads, Constitution Week. Whereas the story of the framing, signing, and adoption of the founding document constitutes one of the most significant chapters in the history of our country. And whereas September 17th, 2025 marks the 238th anniversary of the framing of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention, where delegates met in Philadelphia in 1787 to draft the nation's governing framework. And whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America, designating September 17th through the 23rd as Constitution Week. And whereas the independence guaranteed to American citizens, whether by birth or naturalization, is the basis for America's great heritage and the foundation for our way of life. And whereas it is the greatest importance that all citizens understand the provisions and principles contained in the Constitution in order to effectively support, preserve, protect, and defend it against all enemies. Now there be it resolved that the City of Murrieta City Council hereby proclaim the week of September 17th through the 23rd, 2025 as Constitution Week in the City of Murrieta. Congratulations to our country. Council, will you join me down for a picture? Tonight, we also have a very special recognition. You see these young athletes sitting down before us. They are truly an accomplished group of athletes. We are going to do a certificate of recognition for the 10U Elite Water Polo Team. Sarah Ortega and the team, would you please come up to the dais, please, and stand right here? We have a certificate for each one of you, but I'm going to read what it says. The City Council and the City of Murrieta congratulates the 10U Elite Water Polo Team on their hard work and achievements, which earned them second place at the 2025 Junior Olympics. Your dedication, teamwork, and perseverance exemplifies the spirit of excellence that makes our community proud. We honor your commitment to the sport and celebrate your success on a national stage. As you continue to grow as athletes and individuals, we wish you a future filled with continued success. Congratulations on such a wonderful accomplishment. Shall we go down and take a picture? Here, take some, pass them out to the kids.
You guys want to step forward one second?
Their names are on the back. You could. Okay. Oh, cool. Want to give us Ron?
Just so you all know that my boys play water polo.
Is Colton here?
Logan is
Okay. Logan? Logan? Ready, Logan? Congratulations. Logan? Lennon? Jody? Weston? We're going to get in the back behind you. I'm not getting behind you. Okay, come on down. We're going to look at the next slide.
There are some Temecula kids. Not so San Diego got first place. San Diego got first place.
Good way to start.
It is a great way to start. Let them dart out. All right, we're going to move along to approval of the agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda?
Seeing none?
Thank you. May I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda? I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Lavelle and a second by Councilmember DeForest. Please vote.
It's fast today.
Yeah.
Councilmember DeForest?
I thought I hit the button. Sorry.
Motion carries unanimously 5-0.
Thank you very much. At this time, I'd like to ask our city manager for an administrative update.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have one item for you this evening, which is our community updates given by Christina Davies, our Public Information Officer.
Welcome.
Going to give you an update on what is going on in Murrieta. So first, we do have that it's National Voter Registration Day. This is a great time to check your voter status, or if you have not yet registered to vote, great time to do so. You can go to registertovote.ca.gov, or you could reach out to our clerk at cityclerk@murrietaca.gov. And also this weekend is on September 20th is National Cleanup Day. So this is just a time for us to encourage you maybe to set out, create a group, a great time to consider cleaning up neighborhoods, schools, parks, business centers, and more. And then in line with cleanup, on the 27th, we have our bulky item and waste drop-off event. That is happening here at the back parking lot of City Hall. So this is where you can drop off things like washers and dryers, and just lots of interesting stuff that you can drop off. But there's also the not accepted pile right there list, and we have that available as well on our website as well as on social media. And so that is happening on September 27th from 8 to 12 p.m. And then we have State of the City coming up in October. That will be October 15th, and this is just a time to get any updates on the city. We really encourage people to come out, learn more about the city of Murrieta and what is going on. And as usual, we love to stay connected, so please visit murrietaca.gov/connect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. That concludes my updates.
Thank you very much. At this time, we will have governing body reports and announcements, which is the opportunity for the City Council to provide a brief report on conferences, seminars, and committees, and/or board meetings they attended. Governing body announcements is the opportunity for City Council to provide miscellaneous reports and announcements. Reports shall not exceed 5 minutes. City Clerk does have a timer. We will start with Councilmember DeForest.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. First and foremost, I'd just like to take a moment to express my sincere gratitude to my fellow council members. Over the past several months, my family and I have navigated demands of several funerals, weddings, and health challenges. It has been a true reassurance to know that our community is always so well represented. At every event, at least one of my colleagues has always been present, demonstrating not only dedication, but also the strong unity of this City Council. Together, we continue to show Murrieta what it means to stand united in service to our community. So I just want to thank you all for being there as we navigate life and as life throws us curveballs. So, and with that said, I attended the RCHCA meeting. Only thing to report out is that they are fiscally solvent with a budget, a reserve budget of $742,000, and that the SKR recovery has fallen to a sustainable population and moving forward to actually federally deregulate the kangaroo rat. So with that said, that's super positive. It'll be the first endangered species that has been actually federally delisted. So great work in many years to put that together. So also, I attended the Coffee with the City at Murrieta Hot Springs Resort. What a great event that is always, and what fun listening to our economic development team. They knocked it out of the park. I learned things as well, and just hats off to them to really bring some great economic changes and positiveness to our community. Also, just want to thank our staff because I did attend the 9/11 event, and our staff does an amazing job, and it was well attended on 9/11, and we all know the tragedy of that day, and we can all remember where we were when the world stopped turning. So I want to thank them all for making that quite a beautiful, memorable event. So, and I know that next year will be a big anniversary for that, and I'm sure that it will be even better. I continue to love to help my constituents, providing my email address as well as my cell phone, which you could find that online. The rest of the events that I attended, you can read as my report will be posted online. So thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember DeForest. Councilmember Stone.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The California League of Cities is where most of the cities in the state of California, we have a membership, and they lobby for quality of life on behalf of the cities in the state of California. And this month, the City of Murrieta hosted our chapter, and our mayor did a fantastic job in representing the city, and it's interesting to hear what legislation what Cal Cities is advocating for. So that was a great meeting where many cities in Riverside County participated. In addition, I attended the library expansion groundbreaking, and kudos to our volunteers from the Library Foundation and our staff. It is very, very exciting because our library is the hub of our community. And so that's very exciting that that is happening. I attended the Murrieta-Wildomar Chamber of Commerce Mixer, again, which is a great opportunity for us to network with business owners. Our city manager and Ernie Sanchez, who's the founder of Tour de Murrieta, which is a bike race that has been happening in our city for the last 20 years, I think, 20 years. And we met with the city of Redlands to talk about their public-private partnership and how we can expand Tour de Murrieta, and we came away with a lot of great ideas, and I'm excited to see this event expand. Our goal is to make sure that Murrieta is the #1 bike race in the state of California, and we're hoping that will happen as we move forward. I also attended the 9/11 ceremony, and again, thank you to everyone that put on a beautiful event, and again, thank you to our mayor who gave a lovely speech that day. I filmed for the State of the City, so that should be very interesting. And I attended the Nature Education Foundation fundraiser for the Santa Rosa Plateau. It was a fun Jubilee event. It was at Galway Downs, and it was truly a lot of fun. But most importantly, our Vista Murrieta High School was on the news this week. Did anybody happen to see KTLA said Vista Murrieta High School is the most spirited high school in Southern California, and they were there to highlight the spirit of our local high school. So I just wanted to say congratulations to Murrieta, Vista Murrieta High School. Congratulations. And that concludes my report, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Stone. Councilmember Holliday.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I attended a lengthy RCA workshop on the 5th, looking at fixing the 20-year-old habitat conservation plan, which they came up with some good suggestions. We gave them some good feedback, and they're moving forward with fixing that so we don't have the same problems we've been having for the last year or so. I also attended the WRCOG Executive Committee meeting, and there was nothing to report out from there. And then the mayor and I both attended a couple of Town Square Park and Amphitheater subcommittee meetings, which is moving along very nicely. I was at the 20-year Senior Center celebration along with my colleagues and the Children's Library expansion groundbreaking. Did you forget one? And on 9/11, I was not at the Murrieta's 9/11 celebration. And even though I told a couple of my colleagues where I would be, they texted me to make sure I was okay, which I thought was very sweet of them, and I certainly appreciate it. But I instead went down to Marine Corps Installations West Camp Pendleton for their 9/11 Evening Colors celebration. I've been working closely with the Marine Corps down there to bring someone up here for the Marine Corps 250th birthday party, and we still have yet to figure out who that is because the general just got called away from October 20th to November 20th, so he will not be there, but they're finding out who that's going to be. And then last night, as Councilmember DeForest says, one of us always shows up somewhere. I was at the 75th anniversary celebration for Elsinore Valley Municipal Water District last night. Kelly Ciarto was the keynote speaker. It was a nice evening, and my wife managed to stay awake the whole evening, even though she wasn't thrilled to be there. And that's all I have.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Holliday. Mayor Pro Tem LaBelle.
Thank you, Mayor. As usual, Lori's phone is about as good as an air tag for me because all the pictures are ended up taken by me. So all of the pictures you see of hers are evident that I am there also. Just to name a few, the League of Cities, I was happy to be there with my colleagues and see some momentum happening for some of the local issues that we're all dealing with from here to Palm Springs, from Palm Springs to most northern city was there was probably, do you remember? Lancaster? No? Well, you should remember. Anyway, everyone, we have similar problems, and it's nice to see there's that group exists to help, regionalize those concepts and those thought processes to get some resolve. And then, out of the last 2 weeks, one of my favorite things was the 9/11 event we had here, the 9/11 memorial. It's hard to believe that 25 years will be next year. It's very important that we keep doing that, in memorializing that event, because it keeps us grounded and keeps us aware of what did happen. And I do appreciate the city's effort in putting those together and letting us do that. So anyway, that's all I got. If you need more detail, you can just check Lori's photo log. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Lavelle. I, too, was at the Cal City Riverside Division meeting, both Town Square Park Amphitheater ad hoc committees. I was also at the RCTC commission meeting. The commission held a public hearing and approved the elimination of the clean air vehicle and zero emissions vehicle discounts on the I-15 and 91 express lanes, starting on January 1st of 26. This is not our deal. This is the state and federal deal. Also, the end of driving in the express lanes or the HOV lanes with a sticker is also going to be going away, because that is going to sunset. Unless the federal government decides to bring it back, that will end in October, which I know people are not going to be happy about. There was a lot of talk about, we've been doing some off-site meetings, and a lot of our representation to the commission is out in the Coachella Valley. And so for 1 year, we did a 1-year pilot program to see if it was a good way to do some Zoom meetings and not come into the commission. Well, with almost a unanimous vote, we are now coming back to the commission meetings in person in Riverside every month. The only thing that will be on Zoom will be committee meetings. So I go into Riverside every month anyway. I don't go to the satellite unless there was something happening that I needed to get to right away. But those commission meetings will be in Riverside every month. So you will see more people on the freeway going to Riverside. Let's see, what else do I have on that? I too attended the Senior Center. Congratulations on 20-year anniversary. It was a great celebration. And I was so amazed with the donut display. It was just fabulous. Everybody enjoyed it as well. Lots of fun. The library expansion with the storytelling time was so cool, and all the kids that were there and the songs that they sang, it was really wonderful. So we're very excited to see this get started and moving forward. I also attended the mixer at 8-Bit Brewing for the Murrieta Windelbar Chamber and the networking breakfast. The keynote speaker was very good, and when you go to these breakfasts, there's so much you learn to help your business. I encourage everybody to go to these networking breakfasts because they are very informative. And last but not least, the 9/11 tribute ceremony. I want to thank our speakers that were there for the fire department and the police department, both chiefs that were there, battalion chief and then Chief Henry. Your words were very, very touching and true to point, and I thank you for coming out and letting everybody know your heartfelt feelings and why we should never forget about 9/11. And I do know that officers, fire and police are still dealing with health issues because of the 9/11. And so I wish that would go away soon because, that shouldn't happen. And the last event I attended was a fundraiser for the Hospice of the Valley Wine and Chocolate fundraiser. If there's chocolate, it's always fun, and it was a lot of fun. And I also was at the Murrieta Rotary Club meeting this week, and today I had the privilege of talking with Care Right Advocacy Organization and talking to the young adults and talking about life and how they are a great contribution to our community, and it was just a lot of fun. I have one more thing that I'm going to announce. We have a challenge, and the challenge is Temecula versus Murrieta, and we are going to win. We are going to collect items for the Melvet military care packages, and it starts now, and it will end in November. And the team that gets the most supplies donated to Melvet will be watching the other team pick up trash in the other person's city. So it's snacks and beef jerky, gum, fruits, cookies, candy, protein bars, coffee, you name it, they need it. So you're going to see a big splash on this in social media. We're going to be putting boxes in our businesses and other areas. So look forward. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we definitely want to win. Is that not true, City Manager?
I've determined that we've already won. Now we just have to honor that. So yes.
Okay, I love it. I love it. And that concludes my announcements. Thank you. We're now going to move on to public comments. Any persons may address the governing bodies on any subject pertaining to city business. Normally, no action may be considered or taken by the governing bodies on any matters not listed on the agenda. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes. Madam City Clerk?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Public comments for non-agenda items. Mr. Craig Harlan.
Hi, Mr. Harlan.
Like deja vu, huh? Hello again. You gonna start me already? All right. Hello again. On behalf of my community, thank you everyone for listening to our neighborhood concerns last meeting. I appreciate the comments and follow through from that meeting. Lori with the state contacts, and David, a fist bump from the back for the the fact resources to share. That said, with this home being a state licensed facility, the harsh reality is that we now have a rehab home as a neighbor. So my ask for you tonight is we need your help. We need your help with something we can control and stay off of Tiffany's radar screen here that is mitigating the current safety risks, the extra traffic that this rehab home is bringing. And I've got some slides to share here. So again, seeking solutions for resident, patient, and visitor safety. Next slide, please. So as you're barreling down Hunter, traveling northbound, you've just crested a hill at 40 miles an hour plus, and these two signs are right on top of you. The only reason we have these two signs is I spoke with Brian Ambrose, I believe, at a Planning Commission sidebar, and he placed those for me. Appreciate the signs, however, people aren't seeing them. Next slide, please. Within a blink, you're past that sign, you're still traveling 40, 45 plus. You see the blind spot on the right with the metal arc sign. Next slide, please. And here is the opportunity. Mockingbird comes in on the right. Where that street pole is a school bus stop. To the left, over there where the bushes are, the sidewalk ends. So imagine traffic barreling down 45, 50 miles an hour. They're not slowing down, they're not stopping, and you're trying to cross the street. Well, fortunately, this old chubby guy still has his athletic first step, or I wouldn't be here tonight, because it literally is like crossing the freeway. Next slide here. So if you're coming down Mockingbird on the left, you can't see traffic coming your way, right? And with this new traffic from this house, that's where it's getting a little tricky. So if you've made it past there, right? So Cindy, maybe some speed bumps like the SCGA neighborhood over there by your house. So as you're coming down, if you make it past there, a little further down, you're back on the expressway, and you can see what that looks like. So again, you're 40, 45 plus. Next slide, please. Now you're coming up to Hunter and Golden Eagle. There's no lane separation, paint, or markers. It's a completely blind corner. It's a big risk with driver collisions, e-bikes, delivery vans, commercial vehicles, everything that you see there, right? And when you've got new people in the neighborhood that we have 10 to 15 cars consistently, people that neighbors are reporting that are showing up under the influence, et cetera, these folks are not used to what this neighborhood is. We've been able to navigate it, but they haven't. So last slide, please. I get just the last one. One more and I'll wrap up here real quick. I think there's one more. One more after that. You can see that's totally blind. So much for my PowerPoint skills. Please help us bring some sanity back to our neighborhood so we can at least safely navigate our roads given the situation we all face right now. So traffic commission, planning, whoever you have to do, our neighborhood would really appreciate. This is something we can control, right? So thank you for your consideration.
Thank you for your time.
Connie McConnell.
Hi, Connie.
Hello. I haven't been here for a while, and I've got a couple of hats to wear tonight. The first one is for the Historic Society. We just wanted to report on our museum. We're doing really well. They've had a lot of interest. We had 20 people on 2 different walking tours recently, and 45 people came in for a hands-on experience in the museum. It was some adults, but they had a really good time doing that. And some of our volunteers are putting on 4 different events in the near future. Those events are listed on our website. I don't have them here tonight. And we're gearing up for our 3rd grade tours, which are always very popular. The kids, they get to come and make ropes and find things and grind acorns, and they have a good time doing that. So, and we are open again on Thursdays 1 to 4 and on Saturdays from 10 to 2. So now I'm going to put on my market night hat and say, isn't it a coincidence? Guess what? It's Constitution Week, and these people that were here tonight, they're all going to be at the market. So we're going to have the people with doing some Constitution games. There's going to be cornhole. 3 bodies of the government cornhole. There's going to be some puzzles to do. You'll be able to sign your name with a quill and ink. And for all the kids, these flyers have gone out to all the kindergartner through 8th grade schools in both Murrieta and Temecula, because they're doing one at our market this week, and then one in Temecula on the 20th. And it's also, the information has also gone out to our homeschoolers. So it should be great, and we're also adding the DAR people too. So if you can come out, it would be a good time to do that and see what's going on. And I will say our market is so popular that other markets are asking for vendors. I'm having to turn them away because we don't have enough room. So we've got to be talking about this expansion we've talked about before. I'm going to put on one other hat real quick, which is a personal one. Guys, please don't forget about the kids on the bikes going through town on their little motorbikes. It's really dangerous. We've had some gangs of teenagers on these motorized bikes there the last few weeks, and they are harassing citizens. So I just thought to remind you of that. Thank you, guys. That's it.
Thank you.
Rosie Brady.
Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor Warren and Murrieta City Council members. The last time I was here, it was storming, lightning, and thundering. I'm back, and thank God it's not doing that today. I am Rosie Brady, president of Local Branch 1034 NAACP. That's the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. We were founded in 1909. The NAACP is the nation's oldest civil rights organization, and we're not a Black organization. We're for everyone. Our goal is to make sure we address problems of racism in the United States ever since the early 20th century. Our branch 1034 was chartered in 1977. We're 116 years old. We represent the communities of Southwest Riverside, Lake Elsinore, Corona, Norco, Canyon Lake, Wildomar, Murrieta, Temecula, Menifee, and Paris. Our mission is to achieve equity, political rights, and social inclusion by advancing policies and practices that expand human rights and civil rights, and eliminate discrimination and accelerate the well-being, education, and economic security of all persons of color and everyone in the community. We note The governing powers come from the consent of the governed, and that you are here to serve the diverse community of Murrieta. We are also committed to serving along with you, as we have done with the Murrieta Police Department, the Lake Elsinore Sheriff's Department, Lake Elsinore Unified School District, and Lake Elsinore City Council. We extend our invitation to all to be involved in our local branch. We meet every fourth Saturday in Lake Elsinore at the Grace and Truth Worship Ministry. Our next meeting will be September 27th at 11:30. We've been very active in the community. Some of our recent events were back to school night. We held with Chase Bank and gave away book bags and school supplies to students of various schools. Some of our other events we've been involved in was our Juneteenth event at the Diamond Stadium. It was a huge success. We had over 1,200 guests there. We thought it would be about 300 people, but it was a total success. So we want to make sure that the community know we're here to have fun and serve the community, and we're looking forward to having you guys be a part of that next year. So please visit our branch at naacpbranch1034.org for more information. We're on Facebook and LinkedIn, and we'll be happy to see you guys at some of our meetings in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That concludes public comments.
Thank you. We're going to move on to the consent calendar. Items on the consent calendar are considered routine and may be enacted by one motion and vote. There will be no discussion of these items unless specific items are removed from the consent calendar for separate motions. Are there any other requests from the City Council to pull any consent calendar items for discussion or recusing from voting? Seeing none. Madam City Clerk, are there any members of the public requesting to speak on a consent calendar item?
Seeing none.
Thank you very much. May I please have a motion and a second? I have a motion by Councilmember Holliday and a second by Councilmember DeForest. Please vote.
Motion carries unanimously, 5-0.
Thank you. We're now going to move on to item number 12, a discussion item, budget adjustment request to increase homeless services budget for services. Hello, Mr. Ambrose.
Good evening, Mayor.
May we have your report?
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. I think I've lulled you into a false sense of security because you know how I talk about homeless, and we're going to be here for a little while. I will try to keep this brief, probably about 5 minutes. Before you this evening is an action to appropriate funding for homeless street outreach and emergency sheltering services retroactive to the beginning of this fiscal year through December. Currently, there are no grant funding opportunities to supplement the homeless services budget as there have been in the past. As a result, this action this evening should kickstart a conversation about long-term funding of the program. As each of you know, the City of Murrieta has taken a leadership role in homeless services field within Southwest Riverside County. This work began in approximately 2017, becoming more critical when Martin v. Boise was decided by the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. That ruling held that cities cannot enforce anti-camping and other quality of life ordinances if that city did not have enough homeless shelter beds available for their population. Until this time, homeless services was primarily considered a county social service issue, and most small and medium-sized cities did not provide homeless services, nor are cities currently mandated to provide these services. Fortunately for Murrieta and other cities, that decision was effectively overturned by the Supreme Court in the Grants Pass decision last year. However, Murrieta was one of the few cities that created a comprehensive homeless system of care that can point to verifiable success. Over the past 20 years, California has seen a steady increase in its homeless population. In 2024, according to the annual point-in-time count, the state's homeless population stands at approximately 187,000 individuals in California, with the greater Los Angeles region sitting on our doorstep at approximately 87,000 homeless individuals, or 40% of the state's population. Since our regional collaborative on homelessness started in 2017, the homeless population in California has increased by over 36%. That's a 36% increase in just 8 years. Riverside County fared slightly better during this time, with its unsheltered homeless population increasing by only 20%. Fortunately for the RHA territory, our story runs counter to this narrative. In 2017, our region had 183 homeless individuals, according to that point in time count. This year, that number has dropped to 142 individuals. I cannot point to another 4 or 5 city contiguous region in California that has seen a decrease in their homeless population from 2017 until this year. More remarkably for Murrieta is the increase in our sheltered homeless individual population. It is rare that a city has more sheltered homeless than unsheltered. While Murrieta's unsheltered population, according to the point in time count, was 14 for 2025, its sheltered population was 185, a number that includes transitionally housed households. That is an exponentially greater number of sheltered individuals and families than unsheltered. Again, it runs counter to what most cities experience. Now, let me take a minute here to address a well-known weakness, and all of you have heard my rants on the point-in-time count data. The PIC count is a one-day snapshot of homelessness. Most people out there use it as the scientific fact of how many homeless you have in a city, and it was never intended to be that. It's meant to be a barometer or show trends year over year of your homeless population. To show the weakness in the data, on the day in January that we conducted the point-in-time count, Murrieta counted 14 unsheltered homeless and 185 sheltered homeless. Yet last year, Murrieta's street outreach team contacted 241 unduplicated homeless individuals. This number does not include those calls that came into myself or Lindsay Sisti asking for help but did not follow up. It does not include those living in someone's garage temporarily, and it does not include those that do not want to be found. The city has sheltered 214 individuals in total last year in emergency sheltering with our agreement with Project Touch. This includes 48 children. Recently, 2 affordable housing units have opened up, one in Murrieta for low-income families and a permanent supportive facility in Wildomar. In Wildomar, we have permanently placed roughly 40 households. These are homeless individuals with substantial mental health and other co-occurring disorders that we've been working with for years, trying to get them off the streets. There are a few reasons for our success. First, our staff created a seamless system that includes full-time street outreach services and case management services provided by CityNet, emergency sheltering services provided by Project Touch, a 4-member community policing team supervised by a sergeant, and a community behavioral health assessment team. Additional services provided by partners include a street-level primary care medical team, a street-level mental health team, and our partnership with Care Solace. The vast majority of cities do not have this level of service. But make no mistake, this system is not cheap and will take considerable investment to continue during a time of economic uncertainty and a reduction in grant opportunities. For instance, the agreements for emergency sheltering, case management at the shelter, and street outreach cost the city a maximum of $90,000 per month. Our partnership with the city of Wildomar reduces this commitment as we sell a day and a half of service for case management and street outreach. In the past, city staff have been successful in navigating grant funding to support our homeless services program. Since fiscal year 2019, we have budgeted for a total of $2.5 million through our general fund. However, utilizing grant funding and conservative spending approaches, we have saved the city almost $1.2 million during this time period, with actual expenditures totaling $1.4 million of general fund dollars. Some of the grant funding sources that we have used include America Rescue Plan Act, the ARPA funds, a Kaiser Homeless Grant, Housing and Homeless Incentive Program funding, Homeless Housing Assistance and Prevention Grant funding for rapid rehousing, and Emergency Solutions Grant funding. in total since 2019, the city has been awarded $2.2 million in grant funding for homeless services. Additionally, Riverside County was recently awarded the Encampment Resolution Fund grant totaling over $12 million for a four-city plus unincorporated county region. The county receives the bulk of that funding for staffing and programming, but has provided $900,000 to support 50% of our homeless services managers' salary and benefits, and 100% for an administrative assistant. And that is for over 2 years. And then we also have a consultant. The county has also provided millions for the city of Murrieta to coordinate outreach services with CityNet in the Murrieta Creek area. That's the 4-city collaborative. While the Encampment Resolution Fund can and will be used to assist anyone associated with the Murrieta Creek Regional Trail area, again, decreasing the hit to the general fund, a large portion of our clients would be ineligible for assistance using this grant funding. Additionally, Murrieta's responsibility at the start of this grant was to serve 80 households. In just the first 6 months of the 2.5-year grant, we have already served half this requirement. In conclusion, the system that was created by the city of Murrieta works. There is virtually zero visible homeless impacting our residents and our businesses. We are one of the few cities that have reached and maintained our goal of zero functional homeless, defined as a bed available for any homeless individual desiring to move towards housing sustainability. But this comes at a cost, and that cost has not been accounted for in our biennium budget. The request before you this evening would provide homeless outreach, case management, and emergency sheltering services specific to Murrieta until December. This would meet the obligations with Project Touch and CityNet that have been previously approved. If this recommendation is approved, staff would need to bring back an action to continue funding these services past December, should grants not materialize for these services. That concludes my presentation, and I will remain for any questions.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Very well done. We appreciate it. At this time, I'd like to bring it to council for questions. And first up will be Councilmember Stone.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Brian, first of all, you know how I feel about you. I think you walk on water. And your leadership has proven such a success. And I know this, I know you won't give yourself credit, but I do know that other cities are looking to you for guidance on how to implement a successful homeless outreach plan for their community. And so I want to start by saying congratulations and thank you for your dedication to homelessness, and also your partner, Lindsay.
Correct.
And CityNet and Ann Unmuck and our PD and all the agencies that have participated in us in what is such a success. When I hear that we have 142 homeless people, you don't see them walking our streets, and you don't see encampments in our community and in our parks as you do the city of Los Angeles, the city of Lake Elso, the county of San Diego, San Francisco, Oakland, and you've done a tremendous job. And it takes a village, and you've created this village. For me, you know, it's sad that the law says that when we remove somebody from the street that we have to provide a bed. And I know that there's not enough beds at the county to accommodate all the homeless population in the county of Riverside. But Council, we have stepped up to the plate, and we have funded those emergency facilities for Ann and Muck from Project Touch in order to get these people off the street immediately and to provide the resources from CityNet. Hold on one second, I have a couple other notes. You know, I want to explain to you in layman terms a little bit about CityNet. Besides offering resources, a lot of the homeless population, they don't even have Social Security numbers. And CityNet will drive them to Social Security so they can get their Social Security, so they can get Social Security. They can have income to provide for their well-being. Again, and UMAC that provides emergency shelter. That is very, very important. But most importantly, it's the public safety aspect of what you are doing, because we do not want to become Los Angeles. We don't want encampments in every part of our community. And I have to thank our Murrieta PD, the CBAT, and all the other agencies that have created such a success, and Care Solace, our medical team that provides medical services on point. But what I want to explain to everybody about the CBAT program is that is a clinical therapist that rides along with our police department, who has additional training to deal with mental behavior health and homelessness. And that clinical therapist is the first to arrive to assess the situation, because that person is specially trained. We have a tremendous team due to this man right here. And for public safety alone, for quality of life, for our community, this is something that we should support. So thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Stone. Mayor Pro Tem LaBelle.
Thank you, Mayor. You know, to echo many thoughts as she stated, Murrieta has a reputation, and there's so many layers to why it's safe and why it's attracted to live here. And if there was a secret sauce, I mean, between our public safety and what you've done, it's 99% of it, of what should be replicated. Which brings me to my question. Taking 10 steps forward and seeing December possibly being a catastrophic financial situation because of the tools we've had in the past are no longer going to be there, do we have any crystal ball or any thoughts on what does happen in December? I mean, that is not far away.
I mean, we've discussed many strategies that need to be implemented. Obviously, the Regional Homeless Alliance is a 4-city collaborative. It would be real great if it was 5 cities. It would be great if we could pull all the cities together, because the encampment resolution funds dry up June of 2027. So we have slightly less than 2 years. At that time, I'd like to have created a system and a plan whereby services are seamless, that nobody notices encampment resolution funds are gone and the next day, July 1st of 2027. In order to do that, I think all the cities need to come together, and I think the county needs to be brought to the table to be a resource for us.
With the obligation from the county being mental health services, it's probably more complex to talk about here, but are they obligated to help even absent grants by way of services?
Mental health services, they absolutely are codified. Homeless services, a little bit murky on that one. They have traditionally, counties have traditionally.
Yeah. I certainly supporting what you've done to any extent, but it is concerning to think we have something that it's going to take a little shaking of the tree come December, right? And, you know, I know, Mr. Clifton, you've been very creative and an astounding leader, and I'm confident that we will come up with an answer. Being that it's a couple months away and there is no crystal ball, I'd love to know what the county is thinking at this point of how to answer this call as well. But that's all I have for questions.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem LaBelle. Councilmember Holliday.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I echo my colleagues' comments as far as what you and your team have done, including public safety and our contracted services as well. From what I've seen, I've not seen another city that has tackled the problem as well as you have. You mentioned in your presentation, we're one of the few cities that hasn't seen an increase in homelessness. How many cities would that include?
So that is the four-city continuum. That was actually 5 cities. So that would be Murrieta, Temecula, Lake Elsinore, Wildomar, and Menifee. So if you take the point in time, if you basically compare our homeless activity from 2017 to 2025, our point in time count with those 5 cities, the region, the RHA region, decreased. That is, I don't know of another 4 or 5 city contiguous region. You'll find one city. Well, with point in time count numbers, as much as I hate to admit this, it's a game for a lot of cities. Sometimes they want to get more homeless individuals, so maybe they're eligible for more grants. By and large, what you will find is one city, after the point in time count is completed and the data comes out, they'll put out a press release and let everyone know that they decreased their population by 50%. But then when you count the population in their contiguous cities, the cities that touch their border, they went up by 50%. So it's time to really take a look at this regionally. That's the only way solutions can be effective. We're very fortunate that when somebody comes into Murrieta from Lake Elsinore, we most likely have some data from HMIS because CityNet has been entering it in Lake Elsinore. So we know what resources have been offered to that individual. You don't have that. I mean, the cities in San Diego don't share data like that. Cities in Orange counties do more, and we're very fortunate to have a consultant from Orange County that is helping us with this. But by and large, most cities don't share their data.
And would you say that one of the reasons that our funding sources have been reduced is because we've been so successful?
So the way the county funds some programs, HIP, HAP, some of the funds that they get from other resources, whether it be county or federal, they distribute those funds based on districts, based on the point in time count. So the more successful we are, the less funding we're going to receive, regardless of we're one of the only kind of strong regional programs out there. It's a little disheartening. You know, you do all this great work and then, you know, the funding is reduced. Just in a period of time where we're trying to encourage everyone to say, look regionally as a best practice.
And it's kind of contrary to say, well, you've done such a great job with the funding we gave you, so now we're going to take it away. And if we did not approve this funding tonight and those services went away, what would happen to the homeless population in Murrieta?
I'm very confident it would increase.
Rapidly.
Most likely.
Yeah, and it's not something
87,000 on our doorstep in LA, probably 15, 20,000 from San Diego, probably roughly 12,000 from Orange County. They're all sitting on our doorstep. The trends of the point in time count show people are having an eastward, away from the coastal region kind of migration. So we're going to be impacted. We have the most successful program in the world. We're still going to be impacted.
Sure. And you can't turn this program on or off with a switch. It took how long to get it to the point it is today?
Since 2017.
2017. Yeah, so again, I commend you on all the work that you've done, and we need to get the message up to the county and to the state and to the feds.
Yeah. And I do want to point out, the county has been a partner with us. You know, it's everyone's asking for money. So we understand that. We just hope we can get to a point where, whether it be an appropriation or something, the county comes in and can help us with this program, as they have with the Encampment Resolution Grant, as they helped us during COVID with the emergency solutions. But we would like to see something sustainable so that we don't have to come back to the City Council every 6 months.
I appreciate that. Keep up the good work, you and your entire team. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Holliday. Councilmember DeForest.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to say thank you to you, Brian, and Lindsay as well. I know that I've worked with you specifically on a couple issues, and to great accomplishment for the person that was having a struggling time. So thank you so much for caring like you do and doing everything that you've done. So just for some clarity and transparency, who is usually funding this to us? I know we've gotten some grants in the past, and maybe this could be a two-part question. Why did we not receive the grants that we normally would receive? And who normally funds this? Is this federal? Should we be federally funded, state funded, and county funded? So could you elaborate on the funding streams?
Sure. So as I mentioned, we didn't get into this homeless, arena until 2016, 2017. That was the first time the city of Murrieta and Temecula met on the issue. Because before that time, no small to medium-sized city ever funded a homeless services program. There was no reason to, because it was considered a county social service. Cities didn't have the expertise for that. Martin v. Boise, the court decision changed everything. That literally said, if you don't have the shelter beds, the city specifically, then you cannot cite for trespassing, for sleeping in a park at night. And therefore, that decision alone kind of just, unfortunately, I'm sure some of the judges didn't understand the full situation, but they took an issue from the county and they put it squarely into the lap of a city that had no experience in this. My background's not in homeless services. I fell into this. And so that decision kind of forced our hand. And at the time, the city council made a conscious decision of, we don't want to not be able to cite for quality of life issues. And I say at the outfront, we do outreach. But there comes a time where a tool in that toolbox is enforcement. We will work with somebody, we'll make contacts 50, 60, 70 times, but there does come a time where we can't allow somebody to continually use fentanyl down in Murrieta Creek. They're going to cause an environmental problem, they're going to cause a danger for children that are down there playing. And so this council made a decision at that time, if we're not going to stop enforcing quality of life ordinances, then we better find some beds. And we did. We partnered with Project Touch. And we are one of the few cities out there that have reached and maintained zero functional homelessness. That in itself is an amazing feat. And we're very proud of that.
Thank you for that. One other question. You mentioned the Regional Homeless Alliance, and you mentioned 4 cities. What's the cities that's not participating in the Regional Homeless Alliance?
The city of Temecula comes to some of the meetings, comes to our Regional Homeless Alliance, kind of our quarterly meetings, but they did not participate in the Encampment Resolution Fund grant.
Is that because they do not have a homeless issue?
They had some, there were some issues that they brought up with the grant application.
All right. Thank you so much for your clarity and information, and thank you for everything you're doing for our city and for our homeless issues.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much. Before I go back to Councilmember Stone, I have a couple questions I'd like to ask. How many point-in-time counts are scheduled every year?
So the point-in-time count moved during COVID from an annual point-in-time count in January to every other year. So we did one in 2023 and then 2024. Prior to that, we did it every year. Some cities still do. Some counties still do it every year.
And who sets up this who sets the date for this?
The county. So
the county's
I believe, not positive about, I think HUD actually sets it to federal. I think they mandate you do the point in time count, that the COCs, the continuums of care, do it. I think that our county is the one that sets the date, but every city participates in that in Riverside County.
So since a point in time is a snapshot of 1 minute, 1 hour, 1 day, we could have 20 one day and have 200 the next day, and those the other 180 would not be counted. Is that correct?
Absolutely correct. So the last time we did it, I believe 2023 was a unique year in that I believe our population was 33 unsheltered at that time. And that was just a unique day where we took a team to Walmart and there was just an inordinate amount of people sleeping in their cars that night. That typically, these aren't people that we had contacts with in the past. We were very fortunate we can get a lot of those to emergency shelter, and we got them to resources. But yes, the point in time count is not scientific.
And my last question to you is, you run on a grant basis through the county. Would it not sustain this program more if the county had a line item in their budget so that you knew each year how much the county was going to provide for this program?
That would certainly be helpful.
So that would be a big asset to us and to this program.
To the regional program.
To the regional program.
I just want to be clear, we wouldn't be asking for, a appropriation for the city of Murrieta.
Correct.
We'd be asking for an appropriation for the Regional Homeless Alliance.
Thank you. That concludes my questions. Councilmember Stone, you had a question?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. I got off on my speech and actually had a few questions for you. With regards to the state funding, can you tell the guests in the audience, percentage-wise, how much they will be cutting for homeless services?
I think everything is kind of up in the air. Everything is uncertain. Mm-hmm. Certainly there's been some mention that the primary funding source for outreach, rapid rehousing, and prevention dollars, which is HAP, I believe the next two rounds, the one that we currently applied for, and one more are committed. But after that, I have not heard of any commitments. It's.
Do you think it would be significant, Brian?
The
significant cut for homeless services?
It could be up to 100%. I consider that to be significant.
So it could be up to 100%.
Yes. And then there's also some fear among the county continuums of care that the administration is going to cut the HUD dollars that come down as well. And that is kind of game changing. And understand, they would be doing it to redefine how to use the dollars better. Everyone funds outreach, and outreach, not to blast them, but I will. LA has a lot of outreach organizations. They have a homeless industry out there, and a lot of people get paid, and a lot of organizations pay salaries from those dollars. I'm sure there are a lot of people in Washington, D.C. saying, I would like a little bit of success to be shown, as well as, and Governor Newsom has even said he'd like to see way more success than he has in terms of homeless services.
Of course.
We have that verifiable success.
Correct. Madam Mayor, there is a line item with the county with regards to budgeting for homeless. It's all who they are going to fund. And we have to compete with the desert that has a huge, huge homeless population along with the city of Riverside. So it's all about our relationship with our county supervisor. And, we've talked about having a seat at the table with all of our homeless agencies along with our city manager and pressing not to punish us because we've been so successful. My last question to you is, if for any reason the funding is completely gone, obviously it would be up to the city to allow this to continue based on our funding. But let's just say hypothetically, we can't fund the program. Let's talk about the impact that would have on our public safety. What would that look like to you?
Well, certainly, right now with PD patrols, with fire, when they come across a homeless individual, they'll call out Lindsay and the CityNet team.
But let's say we don't have the funds and CityNet is gone. Project Touch is gone.
But then you're going to have a 3-member fire truck sitting with a patient for an hour sometimes, trying to get data, trying to help them. You're going to have police officers.
And the police officers, if it's a mentally ill person and they want to take them to county, it takes 2 officers to drive them to the county hospital? And it takes 2 officers or
Not
1 officer
positive about
off
that.
the
I mean,
street?
Typically, yes, but
Yes.
I mean, it takes a good hour to assess somebody, I'll tell you that. But it does take typically the 2 officers to get up to Riverside, which is, depending on traffic, hour and 15 minutes. Up there, hour and 15 minutes back, plus the hour you assess. By the time you're done dealing with a 5150 patient, you're 3 to 4 hours in.
Correct.
And unfortunately, we don't have enough mental health beds. So it's likely you're going to see that mental health person released before the 72 hours back in your city anyhow.
How sad would it be that we had an incident off of Madison and Los Alamos just this past week where we brought out multi-agencies, public safety agencies. We had to shut down the streets. Wouldn't it be just absolutely awful if we had several incidences where it took several of our police officers off the street to take a mentally ill person to the county? And so, again, this is a reality, correct?
Yeah, it doesn't happen every day. I don't want to scare everyone to think, there's these, millions of homeless, mentally ill homeless on the street.
But it only takes 2.
I would say there is numerous times where CBAT will come out. So right then, you're talking probably in the area of 2 CPT officers will be on scene. CBAT will be on team. Lindsay and myself and CityNet will be on scene because somebody's having an episode. If we can get them calmed down enough, then Lindsay and I can transport, then CityNet can transport to Telecare or up to Riverside to find them the
But again, if we don't have
urgent care.
CityNet on board.
Correct. But then what is going to happen is you're going to pay 2 police officers for that 4-hour trip.
Correct.
And I'm not in the finance department. I don't know the exact cost of that.
Where's
but it's way more than Lindsay and I are making.
Yes. Anyways, thank you. It was important to ask these questions. And like I said, my speech got a little ahead of my questions. So thank you so much for answering my questions. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, I do that every time.
At this time, Madam City Clerk, are there any public comments regarding this item?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Casson Klein.
As I sit out there counting the votes, I think I've counted 5 votes that we're going to pass this Band-Aid as I believe we should. You've asked some good questions. What are the collateral consequences if we don't fund this? More importantly, if we don't fund this to June of 2027, it doesn't only affect or impact the homeless individuals or our PD, it's our whole quality of life, every resident. I don't think I'm going to speak out of turn, but Brian's not going to be here much longer. So what are we going to do when he's gone? And what's going to happen if in June 27 funding goes away? Brian has been passionate. As he said, he fell into it, but man, there's nobody better. And that's not to take anything away from Lindsay, but this is his passion. So as a resident, business owner, someone who represents business owners here in town, some of you talk about the I-15 collaborative, the women's collaborative. You all, I believe, need to start thinking about a collaborative with the other cities, about a regional collaborative on homelessness, so that if and when that funding goes away in June 27, do I have all of your attention? Okay. You need to get started on that. And I would say that if you don't, you've heard me talk about spending the money on the Los Alamos Hills Sports Park and my opposition to that. If we don't address this, we are going to need the expansion of the Los Alamos Hills Sports Park, but not for soccer. we're going to need it for these people to camp out. This is a very serious issue. This isn't a feel-good issue. This isn't a sit up here and talk about what we've done and what we've attended. This is very serious, and it needs to be addressed, and it needs to be addressed by the 5 of you right now, our elected representatives, our leaders, and not relied upon on staff. And while Brian is here, we need to pick his brain and spread him even thinner to help us start with that collaborative and let Murrieta be the leader in the region and the county once again. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm not going anywhere in the next 2 years. Well, 20-some months.
I'm not motioning that.
I object.
Madam City Clerk.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Anne Unmach.
Thanks.
Hi, Anne.
Brian did an awesome job. And I don't have words enough to praise Brian and Lindsay and the PD and CityNet and the collaboration we built. You guys, I've been doing this, I think, almost 23 years. This city has been the wind beneath my wings. I brag about how incredible you are to take this position and lead this regional effort, but just what you're doing as a city. And I know in the beginning, my early days, it was always county, city homelessness. I'm like, well, okay, it's a problem. It is a public safety issue. I guess all I can tell you is last night at, I think it was 9/11 was my first call. We sponsor a call center for Murrieta PD. I received a call from a Murrieta police officer, and we've got a guy. I always ask, well, assessment, mental health, drugs, and definitely some mental health, pretty significant. So I said, okay, take him to the shelter. So within 15 minutes of the officer calling, they transfer him to shelter. They're done. 15 minutes later, I got another call from the call center, another Murrieta PD officer, and we have this man and definitely some mental health, and take them over. So they kind of crossed paths at the shelter, and we took both gentlemen. So this morning, with our meetings on Tuesday, we're able to immediately, we do collaborative email blast to CityNet, to everybody, to update. This is what happened, and start intensively case managing so that these people, had we not done this, I don't know, return on investment is big for tax dollars. I don't know what it costs, what police would have been involved, and how much longer that would have gone, or would they be wandering the streets and creating public safety issues? I don't have a crystal ball. I so respect that you guys have to deal with responsibilities and pools of money and all of that. Tomorrow we will be at the Regional Homeless Alliance meeting where some of the county people will be there. I know Brian will be talking. I'm in a little bit looser position, and one of my favorite songs is Ain't Too Proud to Beg. I will be definitely advocating to the county and anywhere I can to the other cities to do their just part to continue the effort so we can move forward and not stop the incredible momentum of what Brian has put together, what all the agencies has put together. It's been nothing short of a miracle, and everybody's looking to us. So I think the money will come. I'm just confident, but I respect that you guys have responsibilities and stewardship. If it all went away, I was doing this before there was any money. I will still have been answering police calls for 15 years. I'm not going to stop doing that, but it will be more exhausting for my staff and will be stretched thinner without funding, but we will always be here to serve in any way we can. I don't know if that information helps any, but that's just last night. So that's the what ifs. Thank you. Early.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Madam City Clerk, are there any additional public comment?
Seeing none.
Thank you. I'm going to bring it back to council members for discussion. And Councilmember Stone.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. Klein, I'd like to address your suggestion to a collaborative. And we have a homeless ad hoc committee that Councilmember Lavelle sit on. And in that ad hoc committee, we've sat at the table with our homeless outreach team and the city of Temecula, and along with our city manager, encouraging the city of Temecula to be part of our outreach alliance. And they have declined. They feel that they have a winning formula and they don't want to be part of the collaborative. In addition, Councilmember Lavelle and I have been on the ground with our homeless outreach team and in learning and having them educate us on all types of mental behavior health, all types of homelessness. And we have spoken on a platform where I actually spoke before the state of Florida recently about our homeless outreach team, where other city managers are very interested in connecting with Brian and Lindsay to learn about how they can emulate the success of the city of Murrieta. In addition, Councilmember Lavelle and I have had several conversations even with Supervisor Washington. So I just wanted to let you know that while we don't report out regularly, Councilmember Lavelle and I are very committed to this issue. And if you remember, you sat here one day and opposed Care Solace. And I want to thank you for realizing that it was very important to have Care Solace. So again, we are always collaborating. So I just wanted you to understand what we are doing as an ad hoc committee. In addition, there's something that's very, very important. Ann Umuk and I had a conversation about having all the homeless agencies, nonprofits, to contact our state legislature. Kate Sanchez, our assembly member, and Kelly Ciarto, our senator. It's very, very important that our state representatives understand how this is going to affect Southwest Riverside County. In addition, having a voice for Supervisor Washington. So I'm so glad that we had this conversation. But one thing I do want to remind everybody, if this is cut significantly, which I believe it's going to be, just remember, the California bullet train is estimated right now $135 billion has been allocated to the bullet train. In addition, we have a special election coming up November 4th for the congressional redistricting. That's $240 million. And just think how that money could help mitigate homelessness, not just in Murrieta, but across the state of California. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Stone. Mayor Pro Tem Lavelle.
Thank you. On the committee, you know, the committee as it existed with Councilwoman Stone and I, it existed in a way that was necessary for what we knew the problem was then. I'm not going to speak for our city manager, but it seems to me, with the comments from Mr. Klein and seeing the brick wall in front of us, the committee will have to have a different mindset of what the objectives will be going forward because of this pending issue. And I also think the collaborative, the messaging, the way we speak about the need and the necessity to get Temecula or other cities to, you know, to shake the tree, I guess is a good phrase, but this all changes everything. So how we address this going forward, how we come up with answers for the looming problem. I mean, there's so many directions this can go, good and bad, I think, but I'm also confident in the brain power between you and everyone else that's interested, which should be every single resident of this city, to come up with a solution. So that's all I have. I'm willing to do anything needed to continue talking about this because we don't have a lot of time to come up with an answer. So that's all.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Lavelle. At this time, I'm going to call for a motion and a second. Before we vote, is there any additional discussion needed? Seeing none, please vote.
Motion carries unanimously, 5-0.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 16, City Council meeting schedule. Staff, may we please have your report?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So Kimberly is on her way down to the staff table, as well as Hector, and they'll be presenting on this item. So for the record, if we need any technological support, I'm not the person.
Thank you. Welcome.
Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council, my name is Hector Gomez, Deputy City Clerk with the City Clerk's Department.
And I'm Kimberly Ramirez, Deputy City Clerk, also with the City Clerk Department.
We are here tonight to present to you the 2026 City Council meeting schedules item. So just a little bit of background on our current City Council setup with the meetings. The current City Council meeting schedule is the first and third Tuesdays at 6 p.m. And the going dark practice for the city of Murrieta has been a proactive cancellation during the summer and winter breaks. So the first two dates for consideration for you is the January 6, 2026 winter break. And with this, it's at a limited staffing that makes the agenda preparation and review difficult. Agenda reports require about a month lead time. And for this, the recommendation is to cancel the January 6th meeting to ensure full staff readiness for the January 20th, 2026 meeting. The second date for your consideration is May 19th of 2026. And this is because it conflicts with the International Council of Shopping Centers Conference. ICSC promotes marketplace and commercial spaces as keys to communities and economies. And the usual attendees for this conference are the executive management staff and city council members. So the recommendation for that date is to cancel the May 19th meeting to allow attendance from staff. And with that, I will hand it over to Kimberly for the second half of this presentation.
So two other considerations for cancellation include the July 21st, 2026 meeting and August 4th. The rationale behind the July 21st meeting is that we do have a standard practice for a legislative recess, which allows not only city staff, but city council to take vacation and take a break, attend community events, and enjoy the summer. And also during this time will also be the nomination period for the November 2026 general municipal election, which at that point, the City Clerk Department does have some legal responsibilities, and we do issue nomination papers and are available throughout the whole day that City Hall is open to interested individuals who want to pull papers, want to turn in papers, and just have any questions regarding the election. And for the August 4th meeting, we do have the National Night Out, which is a amazing community event that's put on by our even more wonderful police department that just kind of encourages the collaboration between the public and the city. So that's something that City Council usually attends. And again, the nomination period is also during this time. And that's why we recommend a cancellation of those two. And now that we've talked about the cancellations, we are going to move on to the last portion of the agenda report, which is City Council timing. So City Council meetings usually start at 6 p.m. with our intention to have workshops and closed session not start earlier than 4 p.m. But as you've seen the last couple months, that hasn't exactly been happening due to the amount of city business that we do have. Other nearby cities, such as like Riverside, Temecula, and San Bernardino, do have an earlier start time to accommodate the growing needs. And I did want to note for the record that before you discuss this, we are not looking for a decision regarding the City Council timing today. We are just looking for some direction, discussion, and your general thoughts on this. And so with that, City staff recommends to review and adopt the proposed 2026 City Council meeting schedule and discuss City Council meeting times for future consideration or take action as the City Council deems appropriate. Thank you.
Thank you very much. At this time, I'll take council questions. Mayor Pro Tem Lavelle.
Thank you. Did anyone else notice that we only required to be here once a month?
Yeah,
No, yes, no, just checking. No, thank you for this. I support all the vacant dates. They're all logical for why they're being asked to be absent for those meetings. I did discuss the timing of the meetings with City Manager Justin, and I think Councilwoman DeForest may resonate with this, but it's really hard for me to get here before the 4 o'clock hour because of work, just being employed. That I'm not the boss, and so like I don't often get that. And so anyway, those obligations it's hard. So, but I would be willing to come any day during the week to accommodate other meetings. 4 p.m., 5 p.m., whatever, to accommodate those the extra work that would have to be piled in at 2, 1 p.m., those workshop type of events. But I won't be able to make those anything before 4 work on a regular basis.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Lavelle. Councilmember Holliday.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Can you go back to the slide about the July 21st? So when is the nomination period?
It is.
July 13th through August 7th?
Yes, and we will be open from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., and city clerk staff is available with or without appointment for any interested candidates to pull nomination papers or to just ask any questions.
Because this year we did not go dark at the last meeting in July. But because it's nomination period, city clerk's office would prefer that for 2026.
Preferably, yes, and we didn't have an election this year.
Okay. All right.
City Manager?
Yeah, I would add that the calendar kind of looks a little different every year. And part of the conversation last year was that we had an additional Tuesday in July that gave for an extended break while only having one dark meeting. We don't have that same sequence this year. So if the idea was to have a little bit of an extended period, the traditional has been 2 meetings, the 2nd in July, 1st in August. Last year, you basically had an extra week while still only maintaining one dark.
I find it challenging to have city council be dark for a month is my only concern, but I certainly recognize the workload that the city clerk's office is under during that time. So that as far as the start time goes, I know Councilmember Lavelle works. I know Councilmember DeForest's boss. I've met her.
My wife says I don't work.
Her boss.
And I said you don't work. He never works.
He never works?
No.
Councilmember DeForest's boss, I've met. She's a slave driver. So I don't know. I know Temecula went to 3 o'clock. What's Riverside's start time?
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock?
Mm-hmm.
What time do they end?
I actually don't know off the top of my head, but...
How do they do public comment for people that work?
If I may, Councilman Holliday. So they actually meet once a week.
Oh.
And they do one, and they generally end by end of business day. That's their goal. Not to say that that's what we're trying to do, but that is, after speaking with their city clerk, that's what I found.
And I know that Temecula did a public comment section both before and at the end of their meeting.
That is correct.
To allow more public comment, which I'm all for. But it's up to my colleagues if they want to move it up a little bit, but that means that you'd have to do closed session workshops on other days.
Or after.
Or after.
And Madam Mayor, if I may, so this is just a discussion on whether to get consensus or whether or not you want us to bring options, if that's even something this council would like us to do.
Correct.
If as a consensus you say, no, we want to keep it as is, then we move on.
Okay, we'll get to that in just a minute.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
That's all the questions I have.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Holliday. Councilmember Stone.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. By law, Madam City Clerk, are we subject to hold a certain amount of meetings per year?
Madam City Attorney, I can lean on you, but I believe it is just what the government codes is you're required general cities to have it 1 time per month.
Correct.
Okay, great. Are we going to come back for comments, or should I just do my comment now?
No, we're going to come back.
Okay, thank you.
Just a second. No problem. Let's see, where are we here? Councilmember DeForest.
I think my question was, or already answered, so thank you so much.
Okay. Okay, I will, before we go into comments, before we move on to the discussion, I want to recap the recommendation. The Madam City Clerk and this council will first discuss and call for motion and vote for the proposed 2026 City Council meeting schedule. After that vote, we will provide direction to the City Clerk on whether we want the City Council meeting time change to be brought back with options. So we're going to first talk about the schedule, and then we'll go on to options for time. So I will now bring it back for discussion, and Councilmember Stone.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Would it be difficult for you and our council if we were to start our city council meetings at 5 o'clock? Are you allowed to be here at 5 o'clock? Let's start with that.
I'll allow it.
Okay.
We're going to discuss that in just a minute. Right now, we're just discussing the proposed 2026 City Council meeting schedule. That's first, and then we're going to go back to that discussion. Sorry, I thought I made that clear, but I guess I didn't. So right now, what I'd like is like to have a motion for the proposed 2026 City Council meeting schedule. And I have a motion by Councilmember Holliday and a second by Councilmember DeForest. Please vote.
I kind of think this is...
Motion carries unanimously, 5-0.
Why would we vote on this if we're going to change everything?
No, this is just the schedule for when we meet, not the time we meet. Now we're going to come back and we're going to discuss on a consensus to what we want to do, how we want the city clerk's office to come back to us with your suggestions for a time of meetings. So now, Councilmember Stone, would you like to continue?
Thank you so much, Madam Mayor. So would it be difficult for you to have an agenda where we would start at 5 o'clock? Let me ask you that.
No, that could be feasible.
Okay, great. So if we could do all of our ceremonial items from 5 to 6, and then have public comment start at 6 o'clock and then go into doing business, I believe, so right now it's 20 to 8, we might be out of here, we might save an hour time. I also would like to suggest and recommend on our off Tuesdays, I think it would be beneficial to host at 6 o'clock our workshops, because there's a lot of people that have said to me that I'm so bummed that you held a workshop at 3:30 or at 1 o'clock because we are unable to attend. So those are my two suggestions, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll move on to Councilmember DeForest.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would entertain an earlier start than 6 o'clock. But we do have to provide time for our closed session. And I'm not sure about Councilmember Lavelle, but I could certainly get here by 3. Knowing my boss, I could probably do that. Then we could push a closed session to the end of our meetings, because sometimes our closed sessions are very fast and we have a time to just kind of wait. But I would be willing to entertain a change with whatever anyone could do, just knowing that 3 o'clock would be probably my earliest start time. And I would push that back over to Councilmember Lavelle, which is, it's your time to talk now. So I'm going to just.
I want to clarify something. So what you'd like to do is perhaps, instead of starting our closed session at 5 or 4:15 or whenever we do, we would move the meeting up to 3 o'clock and run through the entire meeting. And at the end of the meeting, we would then go to closed session, then come back down, close out closed session, close out the meeting and adjourn. Is that what you're proposing?
That's what I would propose. And then we could do public comments in the beginning at 3 and then at the end of our open session.
Okay, okay. And then Councilmember Stone, you were proposing starting at 5 and doing everything that we could do closed session at the end. Was that correct?
It doesn't matter to me, but I think starting the actual city council meeting at 5 o'clock. So whether we do it afterwards or before, it doesn't matter to me. It's really for Councilmember Lavelle.
Okay, and then you were also proposing that on the second and fourth Tuesdays, that's when you would like to hold workshops starting at 6 o'clock.
Correct, because like I said, there has been many people that are frustrated with us that we have these workshops where they want to participate. Okay. So that's just my right. And then also, you know, it's if we have a workshop that starts at 2 o'clock or 1 o'clock and we don't get out of here till 9 o'clock, it's tiring. Not only is it tiring for me, because I'm old, but our poor staff as well.
And considering that on the staff, since we're discussing this, if we were to do every other, the Tuesdays, odd Tuesdays for workshop, then our staff were staying here later. What if we were to bring the workshop in at 4 instead of 6, and that way maybe we're out of here by 6 and our staff could go home at a decent hour? How would you like that?
Again, I'm only the messenger with regards to my constituents.
Okay.
So whatever we decide, hopefully they'll be happy with it.
Okay, thank you. Mayor Pro Tem LaBelle.
Thank you. I can resonate with the frustrated residents because they probably all have jobs of why they can't get here. So I think there's benefit to both, right? It's I have an opinion, but it's really I'm one person of 5, so I will do my best to be here if it does go to 3. I don't really have a thought on that. I think I've made a lot of those meetings. They're just becoming challenging. So if I'm there, I'm there. If I'm not, you know why.
Okay, so we really don't have a consensus here. We have a lot of different opinions. I have one that I'd like to throw out just for an idea. I agree we do need to start a little earlier, our meetings, and I do like the idea of holding workshops on a separate day. The only thing I don't like about holding it on a second day is holding it that late, only because that's an extra time for staff. So I would propose that we would start our meetings at no later than 4 o'clock on our regular first and third Tuesdays of the month, and go run through the meetings and do closed session at the end. And also, if you wanted to do public comments at the beginning and the end, that would be fine. And then anytime that we have a workshop, we would have that on the second or fourth Tuesday of the month, and start that at 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock. That would be my recommendation. What is that? How does that sound for everybody?
Sounds good to me.
That sounds good?
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
We have consensus.
We have consensus that we'll be returning to ratify any options and finalizing any decisions that you'll make at that time.
Great.
Is that correct?
Thank you so much.
Okay.
I appreciate that. Good job, everyone. We're now going to go back. We're going to go on to notifications. Madam City Clerk.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So notice of pending approval of final parcel map PM 38568. This item has been removed by staff and will be placed on a future City Council meeting agenda.
Thank you very much. Madam City Clerk, any reconsideration?
Any council member who voted on the prevailing side of the original motion may move a reconsideration to consider new information or correct inadvertent errors on a non-public hearing item at the same or the next meeting. At this time, are there any requests from City Council for reconsideration? Seeing none, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Madam City Clerk, council members request to add or withdraw items to the future agendas.
Now is the time for City Council members to request to add or withdraw items to future agendas. There will be no discussion on the requests. A brief explanation of the request may be given. The merit of the items being requested may not be discussed or debated. Are there any council member requests? Seeing none, Madam Mayor.
Thank you.
So sorry, yes, I have a request. I'd like to bring back a discussion on Prop 50, please.
Did you say Proposition 50, 50? Mm-hmm.
Can you just remind us?
Thank you.
Yeah.
It is the congressional redistricting where we will lose 3 of our congressional seats here in Riverside County.
I will talk about it.
Are we in agreement? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes, please. Yes. Okay.
Madam Mayor, thank you.
Thank you very much. Seeing no further business, this meeting is adjourned.